Hi, I'm Dorothy White, and we're here with Channel 6, and we're at the home of Josh and Lindsay Blackman, and this is on Flagey in beautiful Bardstown. And can you just explain a little bit about what we've got here going on here in the garden?
Sure. They've got a couple things we're going to talk about. The first one is the shade bed down the side. When you bring houses close together, sometimes it limits you, and it does limit you a little bit in the sense that you can't use a lot of bright colored flowers now because they won't get enough sun. But if you're creative and you look for different texture and leaves, then you can still make a really dimensional garden, and they've done that here. And one of the things they also have is we're not 100%, but we think it's called Empress Wu, which is the largest hosta you can get, and this takes about 6 to 8 years to get to its full size, but it's pretty amazing. Doesn't always work this far north, but because they're protected here and it's going to be a little warmer in the winter here, it's been able to just get really, really large, and it's pretty incredible because I think a couple years back we had what's called the mouse ears hosta, which is one of the smallest hostas. It's only about the size of your hand. So to see that, this is a leaf that's bigger than both my hands put together, and it's just a big, huge mound. So we were really impressed with that specimen when we saw it yesterday, and yeah, it's just a really nice plant. But
I really like the idea, though, as you've got a shady area here, and I know a lot of folks probably do at their homes and didn't know what to do with it. Can I grow anything there? Is anything going to make it? And so this is a great alternative. I mean, that's something that I think anybody could grow.
Well, pretty much. And hostas are great because, there's 4 conditions out there: sunny, wet, dry, and shady, right? And there's combinations. So you can have sunny and wet, sunny and dry, or shady and wet, shady and dry. And hostas are one of those things that can survive in just about every condition. They're one of the few things. And of course, there's lots of different varieties.
Right.
Traditionally, they haven't been grown for their flowers, but there are varieties now that the flowers are becoming more and more impressive on them, so they can do that. If it's wet and shady, then you have a lot more options, and this is a wet, shady area. So it brings in a lot of shrubs that they've been able to put in. Ferns are always a great choice for wet and shady, and a lot of ferns will spread. There's a lot of native ferns that are very attractive. There's also some evergreen ferns that'll survive here, that including she's got an autumn fern here that goes year round. Just because it's shady doesn't mean it's a different palette, but it doesn't mean you can't make it successful.
Well, it looks just beautiful here. I'm so glad that Josh and Lindsay have opened up their home today to have folks walk through the garden. It's asking a lot of them sometimes. They've got to get everything prepared and ready, and it looks like they've done a great job.
Yeah, they have. Let's go back in the backyard. There's one thing I want to show you there, too.
Okay. So can you explain a little bit what's going on at Josh and Lindsay's backyard? Because it just looks gorgeous.
Well, we've moved back from the shady area to where they have a sunny backyard.
Okay.
A lot of people put up a privacy fence because they want privacy. But what that kind of does is make you feel like you're in a prison yard or something.
Closed off area.
You can't see what's, and it's sort of blocks you in. But what they've done is twofold. One is they have created a wall of green through a variety of evergreens, and the second thing they've done is create a play area. And the way they've mixed this up is just perfect. They've used some really rugged evergreens that are tolerant of a lot of abuse, and what that means is that when the kids kick the soccer ball and it hits the side of the cedar, it's going to be just fine. So the kids can play and do all that they want to do, but you feel like you're in a park and not in a fenced-in backyard.
Right.
And of course, the other thing it does for you is create that optical illusion that, as you look out in different directions, you're looking through trees and into more trees and into more trees. It makes it feel like it's actually open and not closed.
Right.
So they've done a really excellent job of combining the elements of a garden with still the conditions you need to have a play area, and a beautiful lawn in between for the kids to play on, great swing set. So it just all comes together and makes it functional and still aesthetic.
Now, is this something that the master gardeners would get involved in if someone is living in an area where they really don't know, they've got an idea what they want to do, but is there any folks that they can call on to maybe get some help with that?
Well, the first line is always the extension office, and that's at 502-348-9204 if you're in Nelson County.
You're going to have to say that just a little bit slower.
Right, sorry. 502-348-9204 is the extension office, and we have an extension agent there that specializes in horticulture. They can even do site visits, and they'll recommend to you some basics to get you started. If there's something specific you want or you need some more help, then yeah, the Master Gardeners are there. Our job as a volunteer organization is to assist the extension agents in spreading horticulture to the community. So yeah, we just, of course, at our last stop there in Henrytown, you had a community project that was involving a lot of people. So several master gardeners have been involved to help advance that.
That is just so wonderful. And I think a lot of folks in Bardstown and Nelson County are maybe not aware of that. They know about Bloom in Bardstown, and they've done a real good job this year of getting the word out and letting folks know what you're doing. But there's so many other facets to the Master Gardeners that they might not be aware of. So I think this kind of help, if you're sitting at home and you're thinking that you might need some help with something, just call the Extension office and maybe get some started on a whole new project in your backyard. Just sounds fun and exciting.
Yep, that's what we're there for.
Okay. And Channel 6 is welcome here at Josh and Lindsay Blackman. And thank you so much for opening your home to us and your beautiful garden. And I see some little girls that might have fun with a fairy garden. And what's your name?
Lydia, Charlotte.
Hi, Charlotte and Lydia. Can you show us your fairy garden? Because it is adorable.
Tell them about it. This is our fairy garden. Yeah. And we got this from our grandparents. Yeah, and that is from my grandparents too. We bought these stuff from the store.
And you come out here and play?
Uh-huh.
You do? Do you have fun?
Yeah, and we got that wheel like that. We bought that too.
Well, you just have done a beautiful job. It just looks darling here. Thank you so much for letting us visit your fairy garden today, Charlotte and Lydia.
Yes, you're welcome.
We're at the home of Bob and Kara Blackman on 3rd Street in beautiful downtown Bardstown. And we're so happy to be here today. The sun is out. It looks like a beautiful day. And look at this very unique specimen behind us here, Bill. Can you explain that to us?
Sure. What we have behind us is a crepe myrtle. And most people know crepe myrtles around here is a smaller shrub. May get to 8, 10, 12 feet. But then we get a hard winter and it dies back to the ground.
Right.
And it takes a long time to grow it back. If you go to someplace like Charleston, South Carolina, crepe myrtles like this line the streets up and down, and they're sometimes triple the size of this. But here, this is about as big as it could ever get, and because it's protected by these houses and buildings, it's facing to the southeast, which gives it that optimal warmth and that throughout the year. It gives this opportunity for this tree to grow, and really for this shrub to grow into a tree. And the nice thing about crepe myrtles is they're one of the very few things that bloom really extensively in August. Around here, it's kind of hard to find blooms in August.
It is.
Yeah,
usually pretty dried out.
Right, yeah, but the crepe myrtle is a great something for late season bloom, and this one is a great specimen.
Well, we really want to thank Kara and Bob Blackman for inviting us into their beautiful home today and having us look at all their gorgeous, gorgeous yard things and the flowers. The home itself is gorgeous, and they just have done a beautiful job.
Really
Let's look around a little bit in the garden.
Absolutely.
Okay. And we are in the backyard of Bob and Kara Blackman and looking at some of their beautiful specimens. They have a wonderful koi pond here. Can you kind of explain, how do you put together something like that?
Well, you dig a big hole. No, you do dig a big hole, and they have a couple different kinds of commercial liners available. There are hard liners, which already have a shape, and you dig the hole to make the shape of the liner, or they have soft liners, which is a thick, I think it's a neoprene, that you dig the hole whatever shape you want, and then you lay that fabric, that thick rubber fabric, down into the bottom of the pond, and then slowly fill it up. And then decorate, of course, around the outside, fill it with fish. If you are going to have fish in Kentucky, it needs to be at least 42 inches deep so that they don't freeze in the winter, or you have to have an indoor something to put them in the wintertime. But with big fish like these, that would be a big aquarium inside, right?
It would.
Yeah. Now, they've had to put a cover on theirs. They have a magnolia tree over the top, and it likes to drop stuff all the time. So to keep the pond from getting kind of scummed up, they have to kind of do that. It'll also protect it from birds, because blue herons have made a great comeback in Kentucky in the last several years. The negative of that is they will eat the fish out of your koi pond. And then the other thing it does is that if you have a pond that's in full sun, algae can become a problem. And if you have a little bit of shade over that pond, it will reduce your algae issues.
Okay. Well, it looks like we've got some, this huge magnolia tree right behind us. Yeah. What a beautiful specimen that is. And I love how they've divided the backyards, but really kept them ongoing, because it looks like it just runs right into the next yard to the next yard. And that's kind of a fun thing too. Even though you have a nice divider here, you've got some beautiful things going on here. Are there any other specimens back here that we need to check out?
Well, I think this is one of those years, you never know what's going to be the star, but this year the oak leaf hydrangeas have come in really well in the past week and a half or so, and they're kind of outpacing the regular hydrangeas for the most part, but that's a great plant that can handle a ton of shade and still has a lot of flowers on it. And it can get pretty large, but if you cut them back, you can sort of maintain a shape to them. They eventually get big no matter what you do, so it's a good idea to put them in a place that's got a lot of space, but it can be really shady spot.
Hi, we're with Channel 6, and we are with Bloomin' Bardstown today. And we're so lucky to be in the downtown area. It's just beautiful. And Bill, can you tell us a little bit about what we're doing here?
Well, we're at the Nelson County Public Library and the Children's Garden outside the library. This is a place that the Master Gardeners of Nelson County have maintained for several years. And this was a really big year because we completely renovated this garden. I was not involved, but we do have a team of folks that came over here and cleaned out all the weeds and have replanted a lot of things. And what we try to do is create a small, safe space for kids to come out, read their books, play, enjoy, and still get to know some plants. You know,
Sure.
I think that if you live in downtown area and that, you might not get a chance to enjoy the peaceful settings, and this is a public space that kids can enjoy.
So this is a garden that was specifically made for the children in Nelson County, or anyone who's interested in coming and visiting the downtown area. Stop at the library on Muir Street, and we have this beautiful little garden area that is protected. It's protected from the busyness of the streets. The children don't have to worry about that. The parents can let them even bring a book, encourage them to do that, and sit out here and read. I know we're at this cute little table just enjoying this area. And what kind of plants did you put out here? Is it something that the children might know and be familiar with?
Well, we have a few different things, and I don't know how much kids would be familiar, but yeah, we have ostrich ferns, we have hostas. We also planted some herbs, so if they want to nibble on an herb, they can taste it, you know. I think most all the plants in here are friendly, so that, you know, not toxic, that kind of thing. So if they do nibble on one, it's not gonna hurt them. And yeah, basically it's just a kid-friendly location. Today they've got the gate open because of the tour, but normally that gate's locked as well, so the only way to get to the garden normally is through the library.
Through the library.
Yep.
And it's also right off the children's area. Is that correct?
Right outside the children's area.
Okay, so they could come out and read their books while they're waiting for their parents to check out or find their books.
That's right.
And they can enjoy the garden as well. And you're right, a lot of folks might not have a place in their backyard where they're able to sit and enjoy this peace and quiet. And what a beautiful place. Now, you said the Master Gardeners were responsible for this.
That's right.
So how does that all happen?
Well, we have classes once a year or sometimes twice a year. This year, our next class is going to start in September. If you're interested in becoming a Master Gardener, you can call the Extension office at 502-348-9204 and sign up for that class. Also, if you are enjoying what you're seeing on the tour, or you have a lovely garden of your own that you want to share, call the Extension office. We would love to put you on the list and have you on the tour in the future. And once again, that's 502-348-9204.
And I know it's been about 9 years that Channel 6 has been a part of this, but how long have you actually had the Blooming Bardstown? Do you know? I think it's been at least 10 or 15 years that I remember.
50, I think last year, either last year was the 15th or year before, so it's either the 16th or 17th. So we've been doing this for quite a few years, and this is our only fundraiser each year. And so when we fund things like planting plants in this garden, it comes from the proceeds from our garden tour day. Of course, the garden tour is not exclusive. We also have a plant sale at the extension office the same day and a silent auction. So even if you don't want to necessarily go on the tour, you can come by the extension office, get some plants for your garden, and look through the silent auction for some garden related stuff.